Do it. All right, guys. Before we get to a little Isaiah Bond chat, a quick reminder that today's show is sponsored by FanDuel, but August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches for just 24 hours. FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions, so whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning for your future bets now, because Futures Day is a one day only event. FanDuel, play your game when you want on America's #1 sportsbook. So on Friday, we discussed this at length, myself, Jason, and G. Although they hadn't officially signed him from the Browns hadn't announced it. Isaiah Bond did put out a whole tweet saying, thank you to Mr.
We knew it was coming.
Thank you to Andrew Berry. We assumed it was coming. We got the official confirmation this morning. He signed a 3-year, fully guaranteed contract with the Browns for about $3 million. He got $53,000 in terms of a signing bonus. G, I already know your thoughts because you were here on Friday when we discussed it. So, Jay, I'll give you the floor first here. Your thoughts on the Browns officially making the Isaiah Bond signing official?
I'm great with all of it, with one exception. I don't know why he got 3 years. I'm not sure. I guess maybe they'll be asked about it, and maybe they'll find out, well, other teams were offering 3 years, and we had to. But what you're saying is this guy's going to be a Cleveland Brown for 3 years, not just 2025, 2026, 2027. I love the kid as a talent. It's funny, we have him there in a Texas jersey. I just thought he was okay at Texas. And I think that's a product of the quarterback. I thought their quarterback was wildly overrated. And I thought when I watched him, there was more there than they were getting out of him.
Yep.
When I saw him at Alabama, and this is why he's here, by the way, Tommy Rees knows the kid, coached the kid, understands the kid. And we have to remember that a no bill on an indictment is the closest thing you can get from complete and total exoneration, and here's why. We know the saying, you can indict a ham sandwich. I mean, I can indict just about anybody, just like you can sue anybody.
Yeah.
I can sue Earl for giving that man a C-. Now, the judge will look at it for 0.4 seconds and say, Crawford, you're out of your tree. Go back in your hole. It's overly
But you can file that small claim if you wanted to.
Right.
But what I bring that up to say, you can sue anybody for anything. And for the most part, it's very simple to indict someone, number one. But the saying is, you can indict a ham sandwich. It's very, very easy. And here's what the grand jury said. Nothing there. No bill.
Can't do it.
A no bill. And remember, this is what Deshaun Watson got. That's why everybody went so nuts. So the reaction in the newsroom on Friday, this was the knee-jerk reaction. And someone in our group, I won't name this person, but someone in our group said, oh, well, Jimmy would sign Jeffrey Dahmer if he was fast. And that tends to be this team's history. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because we are innocent until a jury of our peers says we're not. And he didn't even get to that point. The grand jury of his peers all agreed this didn't happen. If you wonder what I'm talking about, he was up on sexual assault charges. That took a man that was probably, after his year at Alabama, I would imagine there were some draft services that said he was going to be a top first or second round pick.
Yeah. He was a projected first round pick coming into the year.
I didn't know that.
He dropped to like the
third.
75 to 100 range.
After his year at Texas. And then, of course, the incident came up and everybody was hands off.
A month before the draft.
Yes. Now, I hate to make this accusation because it's unfair, but I'm going to say it because I've seen it and it's not coincidental. We saw it happen with the Browns. I've been saying for 2-3 months, Quinshon Judkins' attorneys and agents are working with this young lady's attorneys to come to an agreement. That's why we hadn't heard anything. That's why there was no movement. That was step one that had to be put out of the way. What happened? Suddenly, no charges. Drop charges. Well, what's the assumption? There was an agreement that was reached. The timing on this was so interesting to me because if you want to leverage somebody into a payment, you just say, that's all good. It's going to come out before the draft. I'm going to wreck your life. I'm going to say you did this and watch the teams react. I'm not saying that's what happened in this instance, but I know definitively that this has happened in the past. So, and I don't know enough about the case to say whether or not there was a victim or whether or not there wasn't. I don't know. I know the people that knew everything said that nothing happened, no charges. Based on that information, is it ironic? Is it coincidental? What? That these charges come out just before the draft. And guess what? It ruined him.
And it worked.
It worked. It ruined him because this young man was going to make healthy 7 figures. And now he's working on a prove-it contract. Now, okay, there's 2 schools of thought. If you're the Browns, you sign him to 3 years. Right now, the question is, why would you do that? If the Browns, you're saying minimal investment. As for PR hits, we've taken them before. They haven't knocked us out of business. We're going to keep taking them. So this is Jimmy saying, if this works 2-3 years from now, everybody in the league that is crapping on the Browns today for signing to a 3-year contract are saying, man, it was genius for the Browns to lock this guy up for 3 years. They got him for a song. They've got nothing invested in him, and he hit. Now, we've got a lot of experience of these types of things. Who was the guy that we signed from Miami, a wide receiver? And even before he got here, on his very first day, he had a gun in his car.
That was the receiver.
Who was that?
He went to Florida.
Yes. Yes.
Callaway.
Antonio Callaway.
Yeah. Now, there was a lot of hype around this kid, and you're like, well, let's take a flyer. And that's what this is. They took a flyer. And I'm okay with it. But earlier I said we lead the league in drama. We just brought another storyline into the mix.
Oh, we got crazy storylines.
We've got them all, man. We added Mike Hall last year.
We got storylines.
We got Judkins this year. We've got the Shador circus. We've got this. It's like when you're trying to build a winning culture, the last thing you want are outside influences shaking your pot. And we got them. And God bless them, man. We embrace them. And maybe we're stronger for it on the other side. If we can get through all of these issues and win, it works. But if you unravel and you're 3-14, it's easy to point back at the end of the year, and this would be one of the pieces of evidence that you would throw in there and say, you know, you guys, these paper cuts, death by a million paper cuts, they're all self-inflicted.
What you got on it, man?
Yo, so me and Spencer talked about this on Saturday, and this was really tough. You know, for me, I'm with you on the lines of there was a no bill, there's going to be no charges filed.
And don't you think Tommy Reese said, no, he's a good kid?
Yeah, before you even get to the legal side of things, there was no charges filed. There's not going to be any charges filed. He was proven to not have done any things that he had alleged he had done.
Right.
And so from a legal standpoint, he's clear. And how I operate, once you clear legally, okay, we can move forward. Now, the Cleveland Browns are getting beat up because even though the legal side of things took care of itself, the fact that he has these allegations, people are operating with, you know, this team should not be the team that gives him an opportunity. And I say, why not? You know, the Browns are a business entity, right? And in business, we've talked about it on this show. We all can be emotional. But when you're making business decisions, you have to be able to separate the emotions from the facts. Because if you can't separate emotion from fact, then 9 times out of 10, your business is going to bottom out. Like you just brought up Tommy Reese. The Browns had Isaiah Bond in for a pre-draft visit. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that they have had extensive conversations with Tommy Reese about who he is as a person, not just who he is as a football player. And if they trust their evaluation, pre-draft evaluation, if they trust what the offensive coordinator has to say about Isaiah Bond, then you give him the opportunity to prove himself. I have no problem with the Cleveland Browns continuing to operate as an organization that want to give young men and young women an opportunity.
Does that ever go away to you? To me, if you sign 4 or 5 of these questionables in a row,
whether it be your first opportunity, second opportunity, etc. I have no problem with the Browns operating that way. But I will say this. If the Browns are going to operate as a franchise that want to give men and women the opportunity to prove society wrong, then make sure that the infrastructure within your organization is just like, you know,
do you think ours is?
I don't think it is.
And so in defense of anybody, I don't even know who you're talking about, but I really haven't seen much of that, but I'm sure it's out there. You're right. Like, this isn't the place. in defense of someone that would say that, they might be saying that more for Bond's sake than the team's. Here's why. You want the young man to succeed. If you bring him into a formerly New England or Pittsburgh or an organization that's buttoned up, has the veteran leadership on the team, then that's the infrastructure. But Cleveland hasn't proven to have that. That might be why if that's a theory that's popping around out there, that might be why.
But the opportunity
because we don't have that infrastructure.
But the opportunity is the thing that needs to start that. Like there's nobody willing to give you opportunity. How do when you?
I agree with that. Someone has to do it.
Somebody has to. Yeah. Somebody has to be the original person to start the ball rolling on reform.
Right.
Somebody gets out of prison. But when
you're the team that's done it to 4 or 5 guys and it went south. Can you understand why someone might look at it and say, wait, the Browns? That's the last place he should go.
I can understand why, but I still appreciate the Browns for operating like, yeah, I know we taking some negative PR hits, and yeah, we might not have operated the best way when we done this, but you know what? If we really believe this is the organization we want to be, let's continue to stick to who we want to be, but find different ways to be better at going about it this way.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm going to approach it from this angle, and I've been really passionate about this, and I talked about this all the time, when it comes to our judicial system. We got to decide in our country, are we about what we say we are in that Constitution on some cases or all cases? Because right now, we seem to be for capitalism, but when it comes to young disenfranchised people, all of a sudden it's no, pump the brakes. You can't give them that money. They don't understand what it. We believe in guilty until proven innocent, and why the lady with the scales has a blindfold on because justice is supposed to be blind. We believe this is a land of opportunity where people get second chances to prove things, right? We believe, that we have a morality in this country to look out for our fellow mankind. In this situation, it seems that we've gone so far with the pendulum where we as radio hosts or television that talk about this stuff, we are more worried about the optics of being patient than to stand on it and say, I'm going to take every situation case to case.
Well, that's why 32 teams passed on them 7 times.
They want to be morally correct versus being authentic with what they really feel.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, but that's why 32 teams said no 7 times.
But here's what I'm going to say. For all those that watch, we love the NFL. I'll ask a question. Should Jay-Z still work for the NFL?
What's he been convicted of?
He was accused of assaulting accused.
There's the difference.
And you know what the difference? You know what the difference is? Jay-Z, that lawsuit was thrown out, right? But you ain't gonna mention Jay-Z's name. You know why?
He's Jay-Z.
He's Jay-Z. It's easy to say Isaiah Bond. It's easy. Let's Bond, whatever. But Jay-Z is the in the game, the NFL. He is in the syndicate. What are you talking?
Well, that's what the league does. I look at Punt God. This guy was so good, he had God attached to his position.
But those are,
and then we decided as a league, oh no, we can't have that.
But this is what I'm saying. We talk about selective morality.
You're
selecting. You can pound the table and smack your hand and say, why are the Browns doing this? But you don't have no problem and will not utter Jay-Z's name because you know he's above your pay grade and you know the NFL has said, hands off, don't talk about it. And allegations are just allegations. You won't mention that. But it's easy for you to say a dude that don't have a signing bonus and ain't signed for nothing.
Sure.
If you gonna keep it a buck.
Or a punter.
Who
doesn't
keep
move
it a
the
buck.
needle.
Oh, and by the way, as loud as we are, and I keep bringing it up, it's about Trevor Bauer, and as loud as we are when we started that, go back and check and give me an update on Trevor Bauer because now the person who lied on him is a convicted felon and is going to jail to be waiting to be sentenced.
And had a couple $100,000 judgment against her to Trevor Bauer.
Now,
how much? What kind of headlines did that garner?
So that energy level that you had, where everybody was grandstanding and running around peacocking, talking about how great of a moral person I am, you have a moral obligation to then go back and correct the statement, don't you? You have to say, I said this about Trevor Bauer. And you know what? That woman ruined his opportunity to play baseball. And if you ask people now today in baseball circles, they still operate with disgust when you hear his name.
But there are people, when you bring his name up, I've asked this question for the last 4 years. Any chance Cleveland would bring him back? Here's what I get. Oh my God!
That's
Absolutely
being stubborn,
not.
though.
Why
That's
not?
crazy to
That's
me.
being stubborn.
Now-
That's being emotional. You emotionally planting your flag, even though you got new information that you're not gonna change. your
Right
mind.
now, when
That's
Trevor Bauer's
wild.
case, there was also an on-the-field incident where he threw a baseball over the fence.
But if they was citing that, I would take it.
And people in this organization look down on that, and that's when they cut bait with him. They
Okay.
didn't cut bait with him because of the
That's
allegations.
fine.
They cut bait with him because he cut his finger playing with the drone
Yeah.
at the most inopportune time in maybe in team history, and he took a baseball, and Tito Francona didn't play that, and they were all like, okay, you're traded the next day.
We got that.
Now, what's
Let's
happened
talk
to
some
him
guards
since
then,
then
Jay.
is not fair.
Wait, never mind. Go ahead. We have more on this, but go ahead, Mike.
Oh, if we don't do, we got like 5,000 super chats today.
I know, but the conversation was just going. But go ahead.
You get your last thought. We'll save guards for 1 second.
Go ahead. I lost it. Go ahead.
I'll wrap it up this way. I think Isaiah Bond is a young man that deserves a chance. The legal system said he has done nothing wrong here. History will tell whether this goes down as a Callaway and some of the other ones that went sideways.
His play will keep him on the field.
And one thing will decide it. If this kid comes in here and balls out, and here's why I think there's a better chance that he does than doesn't. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Tommy Rees, the man that knows him better than anybody in this organization, Tommy Rees has been, I'm guessing, counseling this young man for the last 6 months.
Since then.
And I'm sure that there were conversations where Tommy said, look, keep your nose clean, get this indictment thrown out, and I love you, and I want to bring you here. So when trust me, Cleveland wasn't the only team that was willing to offer something. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting to me that the kid chose Cleveland.
Because they was probably on first.
The relationship that he has with Tommy Rees. And you don't think that Tommy Rees has had this conversation with this young man? Now you're playing with my name on the back of your jersey. When I look at you running around out here, I don't see Bond. I see Rees. You better play like you're playing with someone else's name, because right now he is. Tommy Rees went to the mat for this kid. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Stefanski listened, and Jimmy Haslam listened, and Andrew Berry listened. He better stay in step.
And by the way, you say what you want about Andrew Berry, I give him credit. Easiest thing in the world would have been like, oh,
nope,
hell no.
Pass.
I just got done with Judkins. I've been losing sleep over that. I'm getting killed for that already. And they put Watson on me too. So, but you know what?
Who needs a receiver more than anyone?
The Cleveland Browns.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a risk. You're right. Especially when your overall number one draft, or when two of your top draft picks over the last couple of years got in trouble before they ever put their foot on a field.
You just filed for bankruptcy. You get out of it in 5 years, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, let's go and get that next $2 million.
I need that Jag.
But whoa.
Yeah.
Your wife is like, no.
Slow down on that.
We using checking
But
and
he's
savings.
not afraid to go back to the stove.
He keeps going back. Hopefully it works out for him.
I hope
Both
so.
of them.
We need it to work out for him.